Alright, so I have this customer. He got a brand new Toyota Tundra, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but he got a huge scrape right here.
I was talking over this video, but I decided to do a voiceover for some parts instead. Right here I was showing the scuff with a few scratches. Most of the scratches were too deep to get out, but the scuffs are all removable, so that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video.
There are some scratches that are just too deep to even, try to get out, like this one for example. I don't know if the camera's picking it up.
First step, wash that area. Right here I'm just lubricating the paint with regular water and clay barring the paint, which just basically gets out anything that the soap and water couldn't get out. For this next step I'm using iron remover, which just removes iron particles from the paint. Iron particles are usually on older cars, and this car is brand new, but it was just to be safe. Normally you want to let iron remover sit and dwell on the paint for a few minutes, but since I'm mobile I don't have the luxury of like a garage, so I think I let it stay on there for about 45 seconds. Since the sunlight was on it, you don't want it to dry on there, so I let it stay on there for 45 seconds and I just wiped it off. Now to get to the buffing, I use Meguiar's correction compound D300. I teamed it up with a Meguiar's cutting pad, and I was using the Max Shine dual action polisher. Anytime you buff, you want to moisten up the pad with like 2 squirts of regular or distilled water. What that does is open up the fibers and prevent any bare, dry fibers from hitting the paint and potentially scratching it, scuffing it, etc. Right here I'm just priming the pad with compound. You can think about it like how we moisten the pad with water, except now it's compound, so that the fibers all have some sort of compound in them, and it's not just dry fibers hitting the paint. After you're done priming the pad, you want to put more compound on there. This compound is going to be the one that you actually put onto the paint, and you just want not a lot, just like maybe like 4 drops. Once you have your droplets on the pad, you can spread it onto the paint, and then at a low speed just spread it all around. I use 2, sometimes 3. Now at speed 5 you want to go over the area however many times it takes you. You can kind of examine it with your eyes. For me it took me quite a while, just because the scuffs and some scratches were pretty deep.
Okay, definitely seeing improvement, honestly everywhere. This entire side is almost gone, so with 1 or 2 more passes that should be completely gone. Right up here, don't know if the camera can pick that up, but that's significantly reduced. I'll show you a close-up once I'm done. Like I said, this scratch right here isn't going to get removed, and neither is this one. It's way too deep. It's way past the clear coat in the paint. That's all the way down to the bare metal of the car. This is definitely down to the bare metal, you could see it. But these little scrapes and stuff should be a few more passes and they'll come out. Looks tons better. When you're doing paint correction, what you want to do is keep the pad clean. So after a few passes, you want to just go in with some sort of like very hard stiffle brush like this one and just clean the pad off. And again, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but you can see like weak fibers starting to fall. You can see like dust coming off, things like that. That's basically the paint on the car. What you also do is you can turn it down to 5. And then we're getting this around. And then since I started from up here, I'm going to start from down here now. And I'm going to focus on this bottom area. I think this is about as good as it's going to get. I don't want to start taking layers off the paint, so I mean right here it probably can come off, right here it probably can come off, but again I don't want to take layers off the paint. There's just a little spot up here that I'm going to focus on, and then after that I'm going to wipe this down, and then I'm going to go to the finishing compound. Oh shit. So correction compound can be hard to take off sometimes, so I like to just spray it with a tiny bit of water just to help it come off easily. Alright, so time to finish this up. I'm going to use Sonak's Perfect Finish on a microfiber finishing pad with the same exact Max Shine dual action polisher. But a few small dots. Now a few normal dots. 5.
So same like before, just pat it onto the paint and then at a low speed like 2 or 3, just spread it all around. And what the finishing compound does is actually it removes a slight haze that the correction compound leaves behind, so it brings it back to that OEM look. Bump it back to a speed 5, examine with your eyes, usually 2 or 3 passes, and then I like to check, and then just go as much as you need.
Wow, this looks phenomenal. Didn't think it would come out this much, but hey, it did.
Right here I was checking and there's still a few scratches on the paint. However, it wasn't worth to take them out just because when you're doing paint correction, what you're doing is literally removing paint. So you want to remove as little paint as possible while still getting the most benefit. So yes, while I can remove the remaining scratches, it wouldn't be worth it because of the amount of paint that I would need to take off.
It's like a give and a take. So we took all this out, but you can't take these out unless you want to give a lot of paint, which, you know, isn't the optimal solution because it's a brand new car. It's gonna have it for a while, so you want as much paint as you can. Just get our towel. What this does is basically removes all the oils from the compound and the finishing compound, and yeah, just basically make sure everything's off. So I like to do 2 sprays. I like to do just a tiny bit on your towel. And just go ahead, rub that in. Perfect.
So we're all done compounding and this is the aftermath. It looks absolutely incredible. When I was doing it, I didn't think that I was going to get these good of results, but I did. And needless to say, the customer was absolutely happy. So these 2 scratches were the scratches that I was referring to throughout this video. They are way too deep. You absolutely cannot remove these. The only thing that you could do to fix something like this is use touch-up paint. And if you're completely new to paint correction, when I say that they can't be removed, it's because paint has 4 layers, right? There is the actual material of the car, there is the primer, then there is the paint, then there is the clear coat. So those scratches were all completely past everything, and they're down into the material of the car. This is where I backed up to see how it looked from afar, and although it looked fantastic, the rest of the panel was dirty, so I decided to throw in a free wash for the customer. Obviously that's not what he called me out for, but this is where customer service really plays a key. The customer is really going to appreciate that, and they'll remember that you went the extra mile for them. So that pretty much wraps it up, everybody. I removed the scratch. I texted before and afters to the client. He was super pleased. And yeah, overall it was very successful. Thank you so much for watching. As always, give me feedback, how'd you like the video, etc. And that's pretty much it. Have a fantastic day, everybody.